everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and getting through this quarantine as best as we can. I'm hearing so many different stories from so many different people of how they're dealing with this quarantine. Some people are being very overwhelmed by it, especially being stuck home with family and loved ones and, having to deal with a whole brand new routine, where we're constantly in each other's faces now. And we may start to see things we don't really like about the other person, and not to put it in a negative space, but I'm hearing so many people who are, and it's sad, but so many people that are being stuck in this quarantine. There's so many breakups and people talking about getting divorces, and it's so strange and odd. And I guess because we're stuck home now and being forced to see the truth of our individual experiences and our individual situations, we can't escape or run away from it anymore because there's no way to go. There's nowhere to go. We're stuck. We're home, So we're really being forced to look at ourselves and the things that we don't like about ourselves or the things we like to change about ourselves, but also we're looking at our environment and, our personal environment and seeing the things that we don't like there as well, It's forcing us to see more about what's truly going on. It's forcing us to have a different perception of life, And then, of course, we have on the positive note, it's bringing families closer together. It's allowing us to connect on a whole nother level, connecting with our kids. I know some people are getting overwhelmed with that, our kids not being able to take a break from it. But I also see that it's bringing a lot of families together. It's making us sit down now and look at our children and talk to our children and see what's truly going on and where we're focusing on them and we don't have any other distractions. So we're putting all our time and energy into it. Same as spouses and other, relationships or whatever that's going on that's here in our faces right now and present within us. So everyone is dealing with this quarantine in their own way, but at the end of the day, what I feel like it's really helping people to look at themselves, to see what they want, what makes them happy, to be more grateful for the things that they do have in their lives, and to see that we don't need all of that exterior materialistic stuff. It's nice to have, but it's not the main importance, And some people, like I said, some people are going to deal with this in a negative way. Some people are going to deal with it in a positive way. It all depends on where you are in your healing journey. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Isabella, and I am an intuitive empath and Reiki master and teacher and the owner of Reiki by Isabella. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, I haven't been here in a while, so whatever comes up is going to come up. I'm just going to let it happen. I'm just going to let it roll. Just let it flow. But again, I really feel like, we really just need to take the time now to just reflect on ourselves in this downtime that we're spending now with ourselves. What makes us happy? What truly makes us happy? What do we truly want? Emotions, especially we just had a new moon yesterday. Emotions are all over the place, but it's all how you perceive it. It's all how you take it on. Some people will get overwhelmed by the things that are coming up, and a lot of times it's just because we're not at a place in our healing journey that we're ready to deal with that kind of stuff. We don't want to look at the past. We don't want to look at ourselves because sometimes it really hurts to truly take a look at who we really are, and what needs to be changed. But for the ones who are beginning to awaken and are beginning to become aware of all of this stuff, it's a perfect opportunity now to start making those changes, to start recognizing the things within yourself, your shadow self, that you really do not want to carry into this new cycle, that you really want to heal. And as difficult as it may be going through those emotions, they're important for us. It's important for us to feel those emotions, to really see the truth in what is going on. I find with me in my whole awakening, in my ascension process, my whole perception has changed so much. I just see things so clearly now. The perception is so clearly. I can look at a person and without being triggered, and know that they're operating in a way that they have been operating their entire lives, in how they chose to deal with situations and experiences that they've gone through in their lifetime, So it's like this repetitive cycle that when we become aware, we start to notice. I start to notice things within other people that I may have been like, and it's almost like I'm in this, I don't want to say detached mode, but more of the observer, the person that's looking at things clearly now. I can actually see why people do the things that they do, why people react the way that they react. And again, it's just a repetitive cycle of surviving, more or less, how they have survived their entire lives up to this point. Not to say that that's been the best way to do it, but it's the only way that they knew how to do it, So with this downtime, it's helping us to look at things differently, to have more of a perspective of why we choose to deal with these things the way that we chose to deal with them. We always have choices. We have our choices. We're in control of how we choose to deal with things. But in some cases, people who have gone through experiences in their life that have affected them wholeheartedly throughout their lives, they've learned to operate in a certain way to get through life. So I find with this time that we're down, a lot of people who are becoming awakened are starting to realize that. They're becoming aware of that. Like, wow, this keeps coming up in my consciousness. Like, I keep reacting this way, but it's not really helping me grow in any way. And a lot of times that's because we never really recognize the truth behind it. All we know is this: we go into survivor mode, we go into protective mode. This is how we have been doing this for as long as we've been doing this. Is how we protect ourselves, especially if we've been really hurt in our past, and experiences that we've gone through in our lifetime. And the only way that we learn to deal with it is to shut down or become defensive, or just keep reacting in the same way over and over and over. Emotional triggers may force us to react in a way where, okay, now every time what I'm recognizing and seeing now at this time, where I may have not seen in the past, I've just went into survivor mode, instincts, to protect myself, shut down. This is how I've been doing it. But now when we become aware of what is going on within, and this is what this time is teaching us, we start to see that. We start to recognize that pattern. For the people who are aware, who are awakening, is what I'm saying. But it's like we start to recognize these patterns of behavior that we've used to protect ourselves, so if somebody emotionally triggers us, they trigger us emotionally, and they bring us into that place of like, I'm being attacked, personally attacked, or I'm being talked down to or treated in a certain way. In the past, we may have just reacted with coming back at them in a negative way, or maybe looking for escapes or things that we found that would help us feel better about ourselves. Rather than dealing with those emotions, we kind of run. We run in another direction, and I know in my lifetime, and because I'm so aware now of my patterns and my behaviors, and I can see it and recognize it in other people and know why they're doing it, it's because a lot of times I've done a lot of the same stuff, I've done a lot of the same stuff. So with my past issues in life and how I chose to deal with certain things, I always went into protective mode, defensive mode, shutdown mode. Like, no, I don't want to deal with this emotion. So what? I'm going to just run away, or I'm going to just not deal with it, finds an escape. In my case, when it came to certain reactions of something that was triggered in me emotionally, I may have ran into the arms of another person or looked for attention from another person because that made me feel good about myself, and I see this with a lot of people, and it's just an ongoing pattern of behavior that we've been so accustomed to and used to, because that's how we learned how to deal with that stuff, or maybe if somebody's being emotionally triggered, because it usually happens when we're being emotionally triggered, when it and consciously we're not even aware we're doing it. It's subconscious stuff that we're holding on to, that we taught ourselves. We taught ourselves, this is how we do it, this is how we do it. I just came to my head. But it's like, this is the way we've been doing it for so long, It's like, okay, I'm protecting them. I'm shutting down my heart because I don't want any more disappointments. I don't want to be hurt anymore. I can't continue to go and, allow this hurt anymore. So let me shut down. Let me look for something on the outside that's going to numb me, or something that's going to help me escape from feeling those emotions, because they hurt like hell when we're being triggered emotionally. Emotions are the hardest part of us dealing with things. It's our emotions that create all the blocks. It's our emotions that determine if we're moving forward or moving back, you know what I mean? Depending on how you're choosing to deal with those emotions, right? So this is a time to really start taking a look at that and notice that this is an ongoing reaction that we've been doing probably our whole lives, again, to protect ourselves, right? To protect ourselves. So it's like, all right, you just hit hard. You just affected me. This emotion is coming back up again. Let me shut down. Let me go take care of this and do this. Let me run away. Let me get attention from someone, or let me, run into the arms of someone else, because temporarily that's going to feel good, so that I don't have to deal with that energy, that energy of feeling emotionally triggered, something deeper, something that's deeper within ourselves that is trying to be healed. And most people on a conscious level don't even know that we get triggered. And these things are brought up to the surface because it is our soul's way of nudging us and showing us that we need to heal this. So what happens is, if we don't heal it and we continue this pattern of behavior of looking for attention, or running into the arms of someone else, or turning to drugs or addictions, or other things that are just going to help us to escape, it's really all temporary, right? It's really all temporary. But this is just how we've learned how to survive, right? Shut it down, be mean, run away, deal with, escape, do all these things. But really, again, this is our soul's way of nudging us and saying, look, I'm bringing this back up to the surface for you. It sucks, totally. But I'm bringing this up to the surface for you because you need to heal it. You need to heal it. But what do we do on a conscious level? Again, we don't know we're doing this, so we just go back to the old ways of doing things, behaviors, and how we learned how to deal with things. So we weren't traumatized, or allowed ourselves to get to that vulnerable part of who we are. So, or, we don't want to be disappointed because it's just over and over and over. Let me run, escape in whatever way it looks for you. But again, repeating myself, it's our soul's way of saying, look, I'm bringing this back up. This is happening again. Please recognize it. Please acknowledge it, because you need to change it. Because if you don't allow yourself to heal that stuff, and you continue in this repetitive pattern of behaviors of escaping from dealing with what's truly going on with you, it's going to keep getting brought to us in different situations, different people. We're going to keep getting triggered with those same emotions that we've been trying to hold on to and repress and suppress, because we don't want to deal with it because it hurts so much. But we need to feel that pain. We need to feel that discomfort in order to release that block of energy, because emotions are energy, right? So if we don't release them, they're going to come out in some way, and they're going to keep showing themselves up in your normal everyday life until you recognize those patterns. What happens is we get so used to those ways of being, those behaviors, of protecting ourselves, that we don't even realize. We kind of go like an autopilot, right? It's like as soon as we get triggered, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to look for attention. Or as soon as we get triggered, I'm going to go have sex with someone. As soon as we're triggered, I'm going to go run into the arms of someone else. As soon as we're triggered, I'm going to go have a drink. As soon as we're triggered, I'm going to go eat myself till I'm blow up. As soon as I'm triggered, I'm going to, just other addictions. You know what I mean? So it's like, start to pay attention to those patterns of behavior, especially if they keep repeating themselves. All right? So when we've been hurt, deeply hurt, we've learned to survive by suppressing those emotions, right? But what happens in time, in life, in experiences? Those same emotions and those same disappointments and those same feelings of not being enough or being abandoned or being rejected will continuously show themselves to us in the next relationship, in the next situation. We'll get triggered, right? It's like sometimes even people, and we don't even have to have any kind of connection with them, but somebody you work with, all of a sudden you go into work and they do something or say something, and all of a sudden you feel this rage within, right? And how do we react to that? We could go back at them, yell at them, whatever it is we got to do, or we walk away feeling like stunned, or we shut down because we feel like, oh, we need to express ourselves, but we're not going to express ourselves. And so it's like all these emotions and things start being triggered within ourselves. And like I said, on a conscious level, we don't even realize that we're doing this and that we're going into this mode of protecting ourselves, right? Because it's something we've been doing our entire life, right? But it's when we start to become aware, when we start to question things like, why am I so mad? What happened? What is it that person did that pissed me off, right? Where is this all coming from? Where is this all coming from? It's coming from somewhere deeper, And in some cases, you may start to recognize it. And as we become aware, you might start to see, oh, wow, this is the way I was treated by a family member or a loved one, This is how I was made to feel like I wasn't good enough, that I had to be better, or, wasn't, again, good enough, or, I'm being rejected, or I'm being abandoned. And so it triggers all of this stuff. So I really do feel like this is an important time for us to take the time to truly start to look at those triggers, to truly start to look at those reoccurring patterns of behavior that keep showing up in our lives. And because we're becoming so much more aware, this is the time to question it. Why do I feel like this? Where is this coming from? You have the time to do that now, right? Think about all of that stuff, because this is the universe's way of telling us, okay, it's time. We need to fix all of this stuff. And everyone is a divine being. Every one of us is born as a divine being. And our whole challenge and purpose in life is to step into our divine power. But the only way that we're going to step into our divine power, and once we have reached our divine power, stepping into our true divine power, is when we have learned how to balance both of our feminine and masculine energy, and we have healed all of those issues that have been reoccurring over and over in our lives. That is when we can completely say, I am in my full divine power. Because now I learned to recognize all of that stuff. I learned to recognize where it's coming from. And I know that this is not who I truly am. This is just my experiences of what I'm supposed to learn to be awakened to becoming and stepping into my divine power, right? But we have to go through all of these trials and tribulations to get to the place of stepping into our divine power. Our soul is constantly working with us. Our soul is constantly working with us. Our soul is the one who's triggering us and bringing things to our attention and showing us things. It's not until we have finally recognized and healed all of that stuff, that again, we are stepping into our divine power, our divine Empress power, our divine Emperor power. This is who we truly are. But we have to go through all of that stuff to get to it. So, you know what, some people might refer to a lot of these changes and things, you know, because you have the divine feminine and divine masculine, and also the divine feminine, divine masculine. You become divine and step into your divine power. It's already in you. It's just a matter of you getting to it. And everyone will get to it at their time, when it's time for them. You know, they have to go through whatever they need to go through to get to it. But when you can finally step in your power, where your divine power, where you feel like I've learned to balance my feminine energy and my masculine energy. I've learned to look within and heal all of those inner wounds that have been holding me back from truly stepping into my divine power. I see this now. I recognize this now. And guess what? I see it and I recognize it in other people. So I know why they're acting and doing the things that they're doing, because I've been in that place. And that's where I feel like I'm in that place, where I feel like I'm detached. I'm more of the observer. I can actually look at a person and say, okay, I understand where it's truly coming from. You know, I understand, you know, and they have to go through their process. They have to learn and figure it out for themselves, just as I've learned to figure it out within. But a lot of times we're not going to know that. You know, we're not going to know that until we start awakening. And then it's the healers and the light workers and the people who have gone through the experiences, whose purpose is to really awaken people, help people awaken by letting them recognize what is going on with them and where it's coming from, and teaching them, okay, in order to step into your divine power, you need to go through this. We need to go through our shadow self. We need to heal our shadow self so that we can step into our divine Empress, Emperor power, our divine power, right? Because we're born with it. It's just we become distorted through time because of our experiences in life that pull us back. But it's part of what our journey is to recognize that and to heal all of that stuff. You know, so to truly step in our divine power, we really need to connect to what's truly going on with us, listening to our soul's truth, listening to what our soul is constantly saying. Look, knock, knock. We need to take care of this. We're going to this is going to keep showing up in our life until we heal this. You know, recognize your patterns, especially if they feel like they're repetitive. Again, sometimes we need to be made aware of that. Not everyone understands that. They're so used to being in that energy of protection and survivor mode and defensive mode, because that's how they've learned, again, to deal with life and how to get through life. But I really do feel like this is a time for us, because we're alone with ourselves so much more now, to be alone with ourselves and really look at that and sit there and say, you know, I reacted this way, but why did I react this way? And what's going to happen is when you recognize it, when you start to become aware of that, it's going to take you back to experiences in your life where you did react in the same way over and over and over and over, right? So it's like we cannot move forward or truly step into our divine power of who we truly are until we have healed all those aspects of our lives. But the first step is to learn to recognize it. Next step is to start healing it, right? And that's the hard part. That's the hard part, because then we're being challenged with emotions that we don't really want to deal with, right? We don't want to look at that pain from the past because it hurts so much. You know, we've learned to shut it down. We've learned to defend ourselves. And what I find a lot too with some sessions and a lot of people with OCD, and there's all different levels of OCD. A lot of what I find in my experiences with working with those kind of clients is a lot of people go into that OCD. And again, there's all different levels of OCD. The people who usually are feeling like they need to be in control of everything all the time is usually, from my experiences with my clients, is people who have lost control at some point in their life. So maybe as a child or young adults, you know, as a child, mostly usually it comes from your childhood. You didn't have any control over the way you were being treated. some kind of trauma that happened in your life. So as a child, we don't really know to suppress. We just repress it, right? We repress that. But what happens is it's sitting so deep in deep into the depths of our souls, that in our subconscious, that it'll keep getting triggered throughout life, in experiences that we go through. But as we get older, we find, and we don't even know on a conscious level again, we find that we want to be in complete control of everything. We got to be in control of this. We got to be in control of that. We got to be in control of this. And again, it comes from something deeper. It comes from an experience in your life, or experiences in your life, where you did not have any control. You had no control, and you never ever wanted to feel that way ever again. So we go into this control mode. I have to be in control of everything. I got to be in control. So it's different for everyone. It all depends on your experiences, where you've been, what's going on with you, what's been going on with you. So again, take this time really to look at all of that. Look at all of that. Where is this all coming from? Why do I feel like this story keeps repeating itself? Why does it keep repeating itself over and over and over? Why am I constantly being triggered? Why does this keep happening to me? Take the time to look at it now, because again, it's going to keep showing up. It's going to keep showing up, and you're going to keep getting triggered until you learn to recognize it, acknowledge it, and start changing it. You're going to be stuck in this repetitive pattern of behavior. It's just a repetitive pattern of behavior that never really fulfills us. And we're constantly feeling attacked, and everything is wrong. And, it's just, and I guess in some way that's where codependency comes in, and victim mentality, and anger and resentment, and, the way we treat other people, and also hurt people too, right? We've been really hurt. We didn't learn how to deal with that. So we just hurt people because we don't really know how to be healed, So I know I went on and on, didn't I? I really didn't want to go on and on and on. I wanted to pull some cards and see and check in with the present energy of the divine masculines, divine feminines, and masculines, and so forth. So I'm going to pull a card, but I just started channeling because this is just something that I feel is so important for us to understand in this time of quarantine and what we're going through. It's difficult. There's a lot of things that are being brought up to the surface in people. We're starting to see things clearer. We're starting to see things, certain situations in our lives are not making us happy anymore. So there's a lot of things that are being brought up to the surface right now that we really need to fix, that we really need to heal within ourselves, so that we can move forward and release that old shit. Repeat it. It gets so tired. You're a divine being. Stand in your divine power. Stand in your Empress and Emperor power. We're kings and queens. We have all of this within us already. It's just a matter of us recognizing, acknowledging, healing, releasing, healing, moving forward to continue to grow. We want to continue to grow, right? That's our purpose here in life, is to continue to evolve our soul. And every time we go through an experience that triggers us or brings up things within ourselves, it's because that soul needs to be healed, right? It's our soul trying to speak to us. It's our soul whispering it to us. It's telling us exactly what we need to do. We just need to stop and listen to what it's trying to tell us, so that we can heal it and we can move forward, And we will get to that place at some point, because again, everyone, and I'm not picking, everyone is born a divine being. It just gets distorted. It gets distorted through our experiences that we go through. And it gets distorted so that we can learn to heal, release, and step into that true divine power of who we truly are. right? So some people are going to get to it quicker than others, but that's okay. The ones who get to it quicker are the awakened ones, the chosen ones, or whatever it is, because they're supposed to be the ones who make others aware, awaken others to their possibilities, to who they truly are as divine beings, and that everything they go through is an illusion. It's it's an illusion that's created. We need to heal all of that. We need to heal all of that. Okay? So let me pull one card, and let's start with, let's check into the collective energy. The collective energy. So everyone, not specific feminine or masculine. So let's see, which cards am I being guided to pull? Let's go to our chakra cards, our chakra healing cards, and see where all of us in the collective are right now in this time. And then I'm going to pause it, and I'll do the next group. And yeah, because I don't really want this to go into a really long video. I really didn't want it to go to where it is right now. But when I channel, as you know, it just goes on and on and on. And also I wanted to mention as I'm shuffling, so Spirit, all of my divine beings and helpers and healers, spirit guides and angels, help me to pick the truest answer and message for the collective. What is the message, Spirit, for the collective? The collective energy. So as I'm shuffling, and until a card is picked, I also wanted to mention that, I did mention this a couple of times before, is that I've been doing remote Reiki sessions because, of course, with the quarantine, I can't do any work in my office. But I wanted to let you know, it's been amazing. The sessions have been really amazing. I really go into a deep session in connecting to the person's spirit, their energy bodies. But it's like I have to go into my own energy body to go into their energy body. It's kind of hard to explain. I feel like I'm tapping into all my shamanic abilities, which is helping me go even deeper. But the sessions have been so profound. The feedback that I'm getting is so amazing. And so many of these people are really tapping into the true essence of who they are. They're tapping into their gifts. They're learning how to, and it's bringing them into balance and peace as well, so that they can get through all of the stuff that we're going through. So just know that if you're really interested in trying, I do have a special for the skeptics, and that's okay, because you don't really know unless you try, right?